Hello everyone, welcome back to Tidgney's GT Sport Driving School. This is episode number 11 and this is all about race preparation and competition. Now, for those that have been paying close attention to the topics, you're probably going, Tidge, wasn't that meant to just be competition? You are right. You are definitely right with that. Now, what I've done is I've juggled a little bit of the episodes around from 11 to 20 because there was a few topics that people have suggested that they wanted to see that would actually help them either with their racing or time trial or whatever it might be in terms of GT sport. Now, if you're after the driving skills, you've only just tuned into this episode because there's been a bit of delay between episodes, so you're after braking, accelerating, cornering, that sort of thing. We've already done those. Check out the playlist which is in the description and you can see all that kind of stuff that will help you improve in those subjects. Now, they've been very helpful to a lot of people, so I'm sure they can continue to help you if you're new to the channel. Now, in terms of 11 to 20, let's go through these subjects now before we get into this episode, just to give you an idea of what's changed and why it's changed and what you can see going forward, because I kind of want to get this driving school finished by Christmas. We're a bit delayed anyway, by like 6 months or so due to the FIA competition. So there's every chance we can get this finished for Christmas, and then you've got everything you need. And then the last episode, hopefully at Christmas, will make a lot more sense. Hopefully. So, episode number 11, first of all, it originally was competition, as we've just talked about. It's now gone to race preparation and competition. I feel they go so closely together. You know, how much do you prep for a particular competition? And we're not just talking live events, we're talking FIA events, the Super Cup, the Porsche Cup in Japan, whatever it might be. And this is something you can apply to real life as well. So that's what episode 11 is going to be. Now, obviously, because race prep's now today, episode 12 has now changed to fuel management and hybrid generation. They overlap quite significantly as well, which is why they go together, because potentially to generate more hybrid you might have to use more fuel. So what's the benefit of doing this? And we've seen people do different methods in order to get the hybrid the best it can be, so that is going to be an interesting one. And of course, fuel management, we've had to say fuel in the last race, depending on when you're watching this. We're going to look at how you can save fuel in different cars. You can save fuel in different ways, the fuel map as well. We'll look at all that in episode 12. Episode 13 was fuel and tyres. We're now just going to look at tyre management in terms of how you can manage the tyres. I figured that would be beneficial to have its own episode, because different drivetrains mean you have to save tyres in different ways. So we're going to look at all different ways in that episode. It should be very handy for a lot of people, I think, because you know, managing tyres for the whole race duration is actually more beneficial than one lap performance. So it can be kind of critical. Episode 14, we're then going to go into driving close to competitors. So that's a new subject area, and that's been replaced. That's replaced race analysis, which is going to be in episode 15. But driving close to competitors is kind of critical, and a lot of people struggle with it, especially the closer you get. And I've been asked that question: how do I drive so close to other cars? Basically, a lot of practice. I've been playing Gran Turismo forever, but I'm going to discuss some of the practice you can do in order to improve that, to avoid hitting the competitor as much in front. Now, don't get me wrong, everybody will tap somebody in front on the odd time, just because you're having to judge stuff on the fly, people make mistakes, whatever it might be, but it's how you can reduce that. Episode 15 is then, it was originally just driver analysis, it's now both driver and race analysis. Obviously they cross over very nicely. Episode 16, mental preparation, has put itself in there. It was originally live events. So that's looking at the analysis, basically. How can you mentally prepare for future races, etc. This could fit anywhere, so I've put it here because it's something that is inside your control, but can be applied to so many things, not just GT sport. It's going to be a smallish episode, but quite a crucial one. We've talked about positivity in the past. It's, you know, that's in there. Episode 17 stays the same, equipment. So if you're interested in the equipment side of things, what will help improve your times, what doesn't, what matters, what doesn't, what's the strengths of a wheel versus a pad. Good one to look at. Episode 18 is where the live events has now been put. So mental prep and live events have basically just switched. So we're going to look at live events. You know, how you can look at a live event in terms of how can you prepare for it, how can you compete in it, what you can do in order to, you know, get the best performance out yourself. Should be interesting for some of you. And we're not even just talking about live events. Maybe you go to, I don't know, the BTCC at Alton Park and there's a simulator there and you might have a chance of winning something and they've advertised it in advance. You might go, okay, this is what I need to do. So that is what that is there for. Episode 19 and 20 are the same as what was always planned. So 19, exercise and food, can be critical. I mean, you've seen me race hundreds of times. You start sweating. Exercise can help with this, and food as well. Different foods can have different impacts on your body, your mind. It's well worth watching. And then the test on episode 20 is the one which maybe will help you more. It opens up different opportunities. It's not just a test, but it takes everything we've got here, especially in the first sort of episodes, braking, accelerating, cornering. Yeah. When we get to episode 20, you'll understand what I mean by this. But there now, episodes 11 to 20. As I say, if you want to watch 1 to 10, they're in the playlist, which is in the description. All the information is in the description. Let's get on with race preparation and competition. So, in order to do race preparation, we've actually come to the Gran Turismo website here just to have a look at it a bit more in depth in terms of time investment initially. Because before you can prepare for anything, you've got to work out how much time you want to invest. So the key and critical thing here is how much time are you willing to sacrifice if it all goes wrong, and this is where some people go wrong. So I've got both the major championships up here. We have the Nations Cup 2019 series and we have the Manufacturer series. I'm obviously taking the Manufacturer series very seriously, and if I was to do the Nations Cup, it is literally for fun. So generally speaking, if I'm going to take something for fun, I might turn up half an hour beforehand, go into the time trial mode, learn the car, learn the track, and just go out and have a fun race. Literally it, half an hour before. If I'm going a bit more serious, semi-serious, I might put that to 2 hours, add a bit of pit strategy in there, try and understand what the strategy is going to be in the race. And then from there, go into the race and have fun. Now, the Manufacturer series, I'm taking very seriously at the moment. So where we might have half an hour for Nations Cup, or maybe 2 hours, when I start to get serious, I'll start to put in some serious time. So, for example, last round, I potentially put in 8 hours, roughly. Now, that's quite a significant amount of time. Now, imagine if I didn't score high points, maybe I came last in the races, and I scored 0, and do very badly. That'd be 8 hours lost. Now, what some people fail to realise is that, yes, you've lost that time, but you'd still learn something from it. To some extent, because you've then got to understand why, and that's why you have the race and driver analysis afterwards. So if I put 8 hours in, I've got to expect that I should get rewarded for it, but if I don't, I've not lost everything. So if you put 16 hours in, you could lose a lot of time there for no reason. So you do have to manage your time accordingly, and that's why we're going to go into race preparation properly in a second. But you can quite clearly see, just from this screen and what I've just explained, 8 hours, half an hour, or 2 hours. Let's say 8 and 2 to make it easier. 25%, 100%. Quite quickly, you can see that my time investment is focused on manufacturers and not nations. I take one more serious than the other. Now, if you're doing an open lobby, friendly race like Best of British, IDTL, I might only just turn up half an hour before and just quickly learn the track and go from there. And that's fine, because that's for fun. So, the Manufacturer series, we're trying to get to the World Tours, World Finals, so I'll put a bit more investment in. Maybe we get that reward of going to a World Tour and World Final. So keep that in mind when you're doing race preparation. Time investment isn't always time rewarded. You will get something back, you might learn something, or you might get points, or you might get to go to a World Tour, or win a prize, or whatever that might be. So what do I do for race preparation? Well, we've actually come to the game to find that out a little bit. So we've got the championships on here, we've got daily races as well. So for example, the daily races, I will literally, spend 5 minutes in a practice just to quickly get up to speed. If it's a 15-minute entry period, I will literally just go into that 15-minute entry period, learn it and go. That is literally it. Very quick, they're meant to be fun, not taken too seriously, so you're literally in and go. And you might do that for an open lobby as well. Very easy to do. Nations Cup. Okay, so let's say you're taking this semi-seriously but not super serious. Potentially, you go into here, you go into free practice, you do half an hour or so, you get to learn the track, and then from there, what you would do is find a quick lobby with the race settings, maybe do a quick quali session, rough guide, try and do a little bit of a race or learn a tyre wear at least, and from there you understand the basics of the combinations, and you can go into the race and have hopefully an enjoyable race. You have seen me before now join races without any practice. I even did that with a top 16 superstar race one time, where I randomly made it in, which I didn't expect. So I just enjoyed the race, and I was near the back because I didn't practice that much. And this is where time investment comes in, because obviously the other drivers, competitors, had put in that bit more practice. So now let's get to serious, super serious Tidge. This is what I do to prepare for a race. It's what I did with the last round, which was round 6. TT was very strong here, so I had to put in a little bit extra effort. So what I would normally do, say this is a brand new combo. Well, it is a brand new combo. I come to this combo and I might just have a quick gander first of all at the top 10 times. Give me an idea of what's going on. So quite quickly here I can see there's 39s across the board. Everyone's pretty close here. But the one thing I am noticing very quickly, just from this is the first time I've seen it, Ford GT, Nissan, Toyota, Lamborghini and Peugeot's in there as well with the Vision Gran Turismo. This tells me it is a very fast circuit. A very fast circuit. So I look at that and I go, okay, it's a fast circuit. It might not suit my car. If you're wondering, I drive the Audi R8, which isn't fast in a straight line. But to get a bit more of an understanding, I'd go into free practice and actually practice the circuit. So I'd spend about half an hour or so just to get an initial outlay. I've never raced Sardinia Road Track A in reverse or even forward. So I'd spend half an hour or so learning the circuit. And the nice thing now is that you can load a ghost in time trial, which is excellent. It allows you to learn the track that bit quicker, and especially if it's a new track like this one. Now, after half an hour or so, I'd be like, okay, I know roughly around where my car should be. You should understand that a little bit. It might take some people a little bit longer, some people a little bit shorter, but generally speaking, half an hour is a good benchmark just to get a good feel for it. I'd then go away and do something else. Go away and just, make a cup of tea, have food, go out for a bit, come back. I'd then spend, so this is me taking it seriously now, 1 hour time trialing. And you're probably like, well, why, Tidge? Why would you spend an hour time trialing? It's not a time trial race. We have fuel, we have tyres. Why would you do that? Well, here's a critical element that people forget with time trial. Time trialing allows you to perfect your braking points, your acceleration points, understanding the car, understanding the track. If I spend an hour on that, I'm going to be hitting my limit in terms of my performance. And once I've hit that limit or get very close to it, I can then put that into a quali session and a race session. So I spend an hour doing that roughly. So that's now an hour and a half of my time invested into this combination. And this is what I'm going to do for this. I've not touched it yet. So then what do? Well, I go, okay, I'm going to have to go find a lobby now. And usually I'll have a break after that hour and then come back to it. And this could be between days as well, but pretend this is all on one day. So I go in and I'll be like, okay, I need to find a track. It's Sardinia A in reverse. Oh wow, we landed on that perfectly. And here you go, lots of manufacturer series lobbies to join, to practice, and you can steal settings if you really want to. You just go to room info, save the settings. Very easy to do, go in. And what I'd do then is I would actually practice quali runs for about half an hour or so. The reason being, you don't really understand the car, because there's going to be a difference between time trial mode and quali mode, because there's weight in the car in quali mode. In time trial mode, there's no weight. So that's why some cars react differently. So I'd give 3 runs, 3 10-minute sessions, get real understanding, and then I'll either do a race sim or hopefully I'll join a lobby where there's going to be a race. Now this is another hour and a half or so of time, so I'm now rounding it to around 3 hours of time. So let's call that a day. We've done 3 hours basic practice there. In terms of seriousness. So then we go to the next day, and this is the day before race day. So now, in the morning, or whenever it might be when I jump on the PlayStation, I'll actually go into time trial mode again. And you're probably like, well, why, Tidge? This is to make sure that I'm up to speed straight away. So I'll spend about half an hour doing that. So we're up to 3.5 hours now. I'll then quickly jump into a lobby, a quali and race run. Quali, race run, quali, race run. I will do 2 or 3 of those. Now that's another hour, hour and quarter, hour and a half. So let's call it an hour and a half there, and then the half an hour time trial. That's another 2 hours. We're up to 5 hours now. 5 hours. I'll then go off and do something else. I'll come back. Sometimes I'll go into a time trial mode, but usually at this point I'm now focusing on the race and the quali sessions. I'll come back, probably do another hour, hour and a half or so. So now we're up to 6.5 hours. Quite a substantial amount of time. we then go to race day. Now race day gets kind of critical, so we'll look at this from a Saturday perspective, as if I'm going super serious, versus a Wednesday where I've got work and it gets a bit more awkward. So Saturday is race day. I'll chill out in the morning, whatever it might be, especially if I'm really serious. So this last round that just happened, I was very serious about it. My whole focus the entire day was just on the race. So in the morning I'm just chilling, and then I'll have an hour in the morning just to get a feel for it again. Half an hour time trialing, and then doing the rest in terms of a quali run and a race run. I'll go away again, just go do something else, socialise or speak to people, whatever it might be. I'll then come back, and then I'll probably put an hour and a half in. Wow, we're getting serious times here, 8-9 hours. And I'll go away again, and I'll come back. I'll put another hour in, and then I'll go away again. These are all quali and race runs. And then I'll go eat, have tea, make sure it's fine. I'll set up the stream and do other stuff as well. And then we're into a quick quali and race run before the first time slot, and then we do the time slot. If we don't do well, we then go into practice lobbies. You've seen us do this. We'll do two quali runs, 2 race runs, then into another lobby. If we don't do well, come out, 2 quali runs, 2 race runs, final time slot. Suddenly, those amount of hours invested is well into the double digits. That's me being super serious. Now, obviously, depending on the round, it depends on how serious I go. This next round is not going to be good for Audi. I said that just before. The Audi is not very strong in a straight line, so I can see myself putting in less hours here. But like the TT round, I put in a lot of hours. So time investment, you've got to judge that yourself. I talked about that previously. But that is my race preparation. So I will always put in a little bit of practice of time trial, because it's very worthwhile doing, and then I'll go into quali and race runs. And then you can understand the car, the weight, the fuel and the tyres, and get a full understanding of that. So I should have added all of that up and put it on screen for you, so you know what super serious Tidge is like and what non-serious Tidge is like. To give you an example of GT Academy days when I was at university, obviously I didn't have a job at that point. I was putting in 4 hours a day time trial practice on one combination. I'd get up, leave it an hour, do an hour, then go away, come back, do another hour, go away, come back, do another hour, go away, come back, do another hour. So it was morning, afternoon, evening and night, like that. And that was like 2 or 3 weeks straight. And you're like, oh Tidge, what about socialising and all that? Well, when GT Academy's on, you've got no real choice. You have to sacrifice some areas of your life to go and do other parts. And then once that's finished, you can go back to doing that part. My housemates knew about it, everybody knew about it. Same situation here. It's best to tell people what you're doing. Hopefully they understand it, and then maybe they'll support you with it. It can get very difficult because some people just see it as a game. Other people take it a lot more serious. It depends what you're doing and how serious you take it. You've got to keep that in mind. But a lot of race prep there that I've talked about. Sorry that you've not seen a lot of gameplay. I'm just trying to talk you through my race preparation. So, first of all, half an hour practice. Then another hour's practice after having a break. Then we're into quali and race runs, and then the half an hour practice on a new day, basically. And then it's just quali and race runs there on. That's how I practice. That is literally it in terms of race preparation. But let's have a look at this now in terms of competition. And what I mean by that is actually my fellow competitors. And the reason you've got to look at it from the competition perspective is because if you look at my direct competition, it's quite serious. You know, we have Lightning, Cocaine Storm. You can see this as we go down. You know, the top 10 is pretty insane. And we're ranked 17. So these are my direct competitors. Now, you can break this down into like subsections a little bit, because obviously I showed you Sardinia A in reverse. Now, we saw that that's a very high-speed track. So if I look at this from a high and low speed sort of idea, I know that the Subaru is slow in a straight line. So Lightning is a direct competitor to the Audi at this circuit, as is Cocaine in the BMW, as is Storm in the Mercedes. I then get to Moira and Manu Rodri, Lewis, Devil Soul. These are all fast cars. They're in the Toyota Supra, and Lewis is in the Peugeot Vision Grande as well. These are extremely fast cars. We've seen this in the past. They've absolutely demolished the competition where straight line is concerned. So these aren't my direct competitors at the next round. They're my loose competitors, you know. So I am in the same race potentially, but they're going to be far ahead in the grand scheme of it, and I'm going to be further back. So this now links back to your race preparation, because there's a lot of guys here. So that's 4 out the top 10 already are going to be ahead of me. Now, potentially the Mercedes will be, and so will the BMW. So suddenly, I've got all these guys who automatically, before you take driver skill into account, are going to be ahead of me potentially. So do I really want to invest 8 hours of my life into a race where I have very little chance of gaining anything? And this is why we go back to the race preparation side of it. Because suddenly I might take out 2 or 3 of those sessions and go and enjoy my life in the real world, and then I'll focus my time on, for example, the next round after, where I believe Audi might be more stronger because it's a handling circuit. So you've got to look at your competition. Now, we've looked at that from an FIA manufacturer perspective. Let's look at this from a Mini Madness perspective now. So Mini Madness, obviously the competition we're holding on the channel, has a varying amount of degree of driver ability. We have DRD to DRA plus and S's. So when you look at it from that perspective, and this is like an open league, you've got to go, well, okay, the DRA plus guys, they're going to be very good irrespective, but we have boost on weak and we have slipstream on weak. So they're not always going to escape. We saw that in Mini Madness. So what you got to say is, okay, these are my loose competitors, because they're more likely going to be up the front. We might race them, but probably won't be. And these are my direct competitors. These are more my DR level. And we're looking at that from a DR perspective now, rather than a manufacturer's perspective. And you can do that in open championships. It's the same if I went to a daily race. More than likely in the daily race, I'm going to be the lead driver, because I'm very close to the max DR level. And I'll be facing potentially DRA and DRB. So I'm expected to win that race. So do I want to invest my time in a race where the risk doesn't give me much reward? So if I lose that race, I could lose 2,000 DR. If I win, I might only gain 50. Time investment into that race, I might not even do. But if I want to do it, I might have to put in a bit more prep just to make sure I win that race and get consistency up there. Or I might not need to do that much, because I should be so far ahead based on DR matchmaking levels. It's all a very, very personal perspective. And I appreciate we've not done any gaming in this, but the whole point of this sort of episode is to explain how I do my race prep and how you got to look at the competition. The competition should help decide your time investment. It really should. And it should help you with race prep. And if you are in the team, so we have TRL Lightning, TRL Manu Rodri, TRL Sutsu, TRL Adam. These guys potentially will train with each other to understand where the strengths and weaknesses are and how to race prepare a little bit more. So, you know, being a part of a team is also worthwhile. Now, that's been a really interesting driving school in terms of explaining my race preparation. I know some of the aliens have probably gone, whoa, what does Tidge do? Okay, I might try some of that, or they might go, oh, Tidge is doing it wrong, or whatever it might be. But that's how I train for a race, and that's how I view the competition. I'll look at a given round and go, these are my direct competitors, these are my loose competitors, and I break it down so then I understand how I invest my time. That's literally it. I'll say, guys, I hope you enjoyed this slightly more interesting and talkative episode. There are going to be more of these in the second half of the driving schools, because it's more subjective videos rather than driver skill, which was all in the first 10 episodes. As always, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like it if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it. Leave me a comment if you've got an opinion or question, or you want anything answering. Please do that. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video or driving school episode very soon. Ciao.